now I could never be embarrassed by you.
Oh.
In fact, when people tell me that I'm like you, I take it as a huge compliment. The other day, Ian was like, sometimes you sound just like your mom. And I was like, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you. He was like, and then you go back to not being as sweet.
Oh dear.
Welcome to The Other 3 Years, a show for anyone who has an Olympic-sized dream they want to turn into a reality. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of The Other 3 Years. My name is Patti Wagner, and this is my podcast. Yay! This week, in honor of Mother's Day, I have my mom, Patti Wagner, on the pod, and it's very exciting. It's her second episode on. And Dad, I'm so sorry. I love you very much, and I will have you on as well. I'm sorry that Mom was on twice before you were on at all. That probably pains my dad quite a bit. But now we all have something to look forward to in the upcoming Father's Day episode. So, an enjoyment for right now and an enjoyment for later. It was really fun conversation with my mom. We talked about parenting and what her kind of goals were when my brother and I were younger, what different things she did or didn't do. Yeah, just how she tried to prioritize different things in our childhood that made us turn out happy and healthy adults. I will, spoiler alert, say that a huge thing for my mom when we were little was sleep. She was like crazy about sleep. And my brother and I are both pretty good at sleeping. So I think that it was a success. And also just funny because we literally like didn't go to sleepovers when we were kids because my mom was so crazy about us sleeping. My mom and I also talked about her playing sports as a kid and the role that kind of sports and exercise have had in her life and how that's shaped her even today. So it was a really fun conversation. I love my mom so much, and I hope that everyone enjoys this fun Mother's Day episode, and just a really happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there, but especially my mom because she is the best. So, before we get into that, here's an update on what's going on in training right now. We are in Princeton, New Jersey for our last week in the US before we go over to Erba, Italy for our pre camp before World Cup 2. The US boats going to the final Olympic qualification regatta already left. They left this past Sunday, so they are already in Erba. They've already started their pre camp. And the boats that are already pre-qualified for the Olympics and are racing at the World Cup are still in Princeton. So definitely a smaller group in Princeton right now, which is actually a little nice. Definitely less coaching launches out on the water, so a few less wakes, but also we've just had good weather so far this week. So things are feeling good. I think everyone's just trying to squeeze all the boat speed we possibly can out of our boats before, we head over to Europe and get to be in kind of a race mindset for the first time in a little while. So I think everyone's really excited to race and excited to do some traveling and line up internationally for the first time this year. So last week in the US for a little while, although we're only going to Europe for 2 weeks. I really thought it was a longer trip. It's truly only 2 weeks. But it'll be a good trip. It'll be really nice to get over there and line up for the first time this year. So I'm super excited, but still want to get some good workouts and get some good stuff done here this week. So yeah, just trying to finish off this kind of Princeton block strong and then have some good travel, hopefully. It's always a little iffy, taking those all night flights, but hopefully we've learned some things over the years and it won't be too bad. Unfortunately, I won't get to see my mom on Mother's Day because we are flying to Italy that day, but I hope that everyone, enjoys their Mother's Day weekends. And without further ado, here is my conversation with my mom. Now we are recording. Yay. So, in honor of Mother's Day this weekend, I have my mom on for the second time. One of a few repeat guests, Mom. That's pretty exciting.
Very exciting. I'm honored.
I'm honored to have you on. Yes, I thought that in the vein of Mother's Day, we could talk a little bit. It was funny, the my producers were saying like, "You can ask your mom, how did you raise an Olympian?" And I was like, I don't know if that was really her intention. So I thought that was kind of a funny question. But I thought we could talk about, parenting, maybe some parents of younger athletes or I don't know, listen, and I just thought that might be interesting and a good learning experience for me because I'm getting older. So, I guess to start, mom, when you were on the cusp of parenthood, did you think about like how you wanted to raise us? Like, did you guys have conversations about that, or did it just kind of happen naturally?
I think it definitely happens naturally, but I think I also had a lot of ideas of what I wanted. And basically, the most important thing to me was that you were happy, right? And that you were healthy. So those were the two important, most important things, happy and healthy. And then there were 100 other things, like confident, and I'm an organized person, so it was important to me that there was a schedule and that we adhered to the schedule, and sleep was important to me, so it was important that you got a lot of sleep, and it was important that we had dinner as a family at 6 o'clock every night. All of us sat at the table and had dinner together. So I just had these things in my mind that I wanted our family to be like. And I think I took some things from my childhood that I liked and some things from my childhood that I didn't like, that I wanted to be different. I really wanted you guys to have lots of options, try different things, find what you liked. I wanted you to be honest, kind. I had all these, things that I wanted you to be. But most important, I just really wanted you to be happy and healthy. Um, I tried to not have a lot of naughty food at home. I tried to have really healthy food. I was always putting out carrots and celery and, things that snacks, fruit, and I felt like what you eat is how you feel, and I wanted you to feel good. So I wanted you to eat healthy. I wanted you to get enough sleep. I wanted you to be outside and get exercise. And those were all things that made me happy. So I felt like they would make you guys happy. So I really just wanted to pass on anything that I thought would make you guys happy. And I feel like you both are happy. So I think it worked.
No, definitely. I do wonder, or I have wondered, like, you were a bit crazy about sleep. And I feel like it worked out because I think that Joe and I are both very good sleepers. But where did that come from? Was that just like your own personal experience? And yeah, I feel like of a lot of things, sleep was something that you were just like not going to budge on. Like we
No,
didn't even have a lot of sleepovers as kids because you
no.
were worried about us not sleeping.
I was known basically as the sleep Nazi. I feel better when I sleep. When I'm tired, everything's hard. When I'm tired, my brain doesn't work. And I don't like that feeling. And I didn't want you guys to have that feeling. And I thought sleep was more important than sleepovers. I thought it was more important than going to parties or if we were invited to a barbecue and it was during your nap time, I'm sorry, we couldn't go. If, you wanted to sleep over at a friend's house, I'm sorry, your bedtime is at 8 o'clock. You need to be home and go to bed. It was important to me. And because I felt that that was what was going to make you a happy, healthy person, I felt very strongly about it. So I was a little crazy about it.
Yeah.
And I need to sleep. I need them to go to bed so I can go to bed. I like to get up early. I like to exercise. I go to work. And so everybody had to be on my schedule because that's what worked for me. So it was kind of a selfish thing, too. I remember when you guys were little on the weekends, all four of us would put our pajamas on and we would all get in bed and we would all go to sleep And I loved that. It was fantastic. Yeah, I'm kind of a crazy sleep person.
That's okay. I still love going to sleep early, so it's okay. So the other thing that I think is was very true. We definitely had very healthy foods. But the thing is like I feel like we never ate little kid food. Like we always just ate what you guys were eating.
Yeah,
And we had dinner together, but it wasn't like you made us different food.
no.
Was that on purpose? Because a lot of people eat like, I remember we would go over to people's houses and they'd be like, we're making our kids chicken fingers. And you were like, my kids eat steak. Like,
Yeah, whatever we're eating. I mean, uh, honestly, I would come home from work and get dinner on the table, and I wasn't going to start making two different meals. You guys were just going to have to eat what we ate. And if you didn't, then you'd go hungry. But I feel like kids will eat whatever you give them. And so, we could have given you different foods, but we chose not to. And you liked the food we ate just fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was me in kindergarten that you sent clementines to school for my birthday, right?
Yes. Yes. Have you forgiven me for that yet?
Oh, I mean, I like clementines. I think that's
You
so
did
funny
like
though.
you did like clementines. I think the teacher was shocked. It was the first time it hadn't been, cupcakes or donuts or, whatever. It's like you showed up with the clementine. I think all your friends liked it too. I think later in life you were like, "Did you really send clementines to school on my birthday?" They're easy to peel. They're delicious. Why wouldn't you?
Well, I'm also sure that they said send a healthy snack. And
They
if
did.
mom is known for anything, it is following instructions.
Yes, I am a rule follower. And you are too.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So,
Yes.
yeah, when Joe and I were little, I feel like we did a lot of activities and a lot of different kinds of activities. Like, we were not only into sports or, one kind of thing. Did you guys put like thought into that, into what kinds of different things we signed up for? Was that driven by us? Was it a combo? Like, I don't even really remember.
There were a couple of things. I remember Dad felt strongly that you both try music. It wasn't as important to me because I have no music ability, but he came from a family that was musical. So I think he really wanted you guys to try music, whether it was chorus or an instrument. But most of your activities, like I think I got a flyer for brownies and I said, "Do you want to try the be a brownie?" Didn't seem that interested. Then you came home on the bus the first day and you were in tears because all your friends had gotten off at the scout house and why weren't you a daisy? So we drove you over to the scout house and you became a daisy. And you were a Girl Scout from then until through high school. I mean, you got your silver award, I believe. So it's like that was driven by your friends. That was something I thought would be nice, but that was totally up to you. I really felt like I could recommend things, but if you guys weren't interested, I wasn't going to push it. But if you did want to do things, I thought they should try anything they want to try. I did. I took ballet and I kind of like ballet, so I thought you should try ballet. But I was fine when you decided to give it up. That was completely fine. And I think you did want to at one point. I don't remember if it was you or Joe wanted to try either the cheerleading or the football, which was in Wayland. I was like, no, that's too far. We're not doing
You also didn't want us to do hockey.
that. No, I didn't want you to do hockey. I had this thing in my head that people played hockey lost their teeth. I didn't want you to lose your teeth. Maybe because I knew somebody who had, gotten a hockey puck in their tooth. And I didn't want you playing sports where you could get hurt.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when we were little or younger, I mean, we played sports, but we also did swimming and
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Skating. You did
and
skating.
skating. Yeah. Yeah. But we did like
Hmm.
the school musicals and like orchestra and
Hmm.
chorus and all that stuff. I also feel like any time we did sports outside of school sports, it was really pushed by us.
Yes.
Like, I don't feel like you guys ever pressured us into. I feel like if anything, you were like, "Are you sure you want to do this? It's very expensive."
Yeah. Yeah, very expensive and seems like a lot of very time consuming. I mean, I think when you were on the AAU basketball team, we were like driving all over the place. It was like,
Yeah.
you sure you want to do this? And you were like, oh, yes, I want to do this. It's like, okay. I remember getting all kinds of books on tape. It's like,
Yeah. And then what about us like deciding to stop, sports or different activities? Like, because I also feel like that was pretty much led by us. Like, if we had signed up for a season, we always had to finish that season. But like,
yes,
if we decided we didn't want to do something anymore, I feel like you guys were always totally fine with that.
yeah. I didn't have any issue with you guys stopping something. Thought it was good for you to try different things and see what you like. And I think it's good to be well rounded and try a lot of different things. So
Yeah.
not everybody's going to be good at everything. So you guys knew better than I did when it was time for you to make a change and when you wanted to stop doing something.
Yeah. Were there any things that you, like, looking back now, you would have changed or, like, done differently?
I would have worked from home if I could have worked from home.
Mom's favorite thing about COVID.
It is my favorite thing about COVID because I never worked from home and it's amazing. I'm home right now. It's so amazing. To have been able to be here when you guys were younger would have been amazing because that's something that I struggled with. I did love my job, but I wished I could have been home more. So that's definitely something I would change if I was going to do it over. And I also wish I had done more volunteering because I when I look back on, being a room parent or going to nationals with the rowing team as a chaperone or, being the manager of the soccer team, any of those things that I did, I really enjoyed doing it and I felt so connected to you and your friends and the coaches and just everything that was going on and I would do even more of that if I could because I loved it.
I feel like you did so much stuff, though. I mean, I feel like you were always doing the room parent stuff, and given how many people's parents didn't work, I feel like you were doing a
That's
lot
true.
more. What ages like did you find the most challenging for us? Like, and was it the same for Joe and I?
I think the most challenging was when I was embarrassing to you because there was
Oh.
times, when you'd be with your friends and I'd show up and you'd look at me like, "What are you doing here?" And I didn't take it personally. I knew that's what it was, but it was still hard. So I found that very challenging. But I don't I don't know. I remember feeling every year would just get better. Like, oh, I really like this
Oh.
age, or and then the next year it was like, oh, this is a great age. And then, I mean, like when you guys started, hiking with. I mean, I've always really liked hiking, and I'm not sure it was your favorite thing when you guys were little, especially Joe. But then you guys started to really like it, and it was like we would do these family hikes, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Or I love that kind of stuff. So that was really fun. But I don't remember ever having a really, really hard time. Just when you were struggling with pressure, putting too much pressure on yourself, of course that's hard. Anytime you were not feeling happy was hard, quite honestly, because I definitely felt everything you felt for sure.
Oh.
Fortunately, you're usually happy.
Yes. Baseline is happy, which is good.
Yes.
I don't remember ever being embarrassed by you. Definitely dad, but not you.
That's funny.
I feel like you didn't really do embarrassing things. I feel like he would try to embarrass us.
No, I don't. It wasn't that often that I was embarrassing to you. I knew the look, and I knew when to back off. I was very in tune with what was going on. So it was all good.
Now I could never be embarrassed by you. In
Oh,
fact, when
thank
people tell
you.
me that I'm like you, I take it as a huge compliment. The other day, Ian was like, "Sometimes you sound just like
Oh,
your mom." And I was like, "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to
oh,
me. Thank you." He was like, "And then you
oh.
go back to not being as sweet."
Oh dear.
Yikes. Well, when you were a kid, I know you played a lot of sports. What did you
Yes.
like about sports? And like, how did that evolve into, like, I feel like you've always exercised. So, what do you like about sports?
Yeah.
And then what do you like about exercising? And
Growing up, my family was all about tennis. My dad was a great tennis player. My mom was a great tennis player. My sister, my brother. And so, of course, I was the youngest. I had to play tennis and I liked playing with them. I was good at it. It was fun. But as a kid, I always enjoyed sports and not just playing sports, but also watching sports. We were a big sports family. We were all about the Patriots and the Red Sox and the Celtics, and we would go to games or we'd watch as a family on TV. And I always really enjoyed that. So I was really, really excited that you and Joe both and your dad, all loved that as much as I did. So that was really fun for us all to do together and go to games and watch on TV together. And I think in my mind, if I exercise, I can eat more. And I really love to eat and I really love to have a few beers. And so it just all works out. Recently, I've gotten into yoga and I go to yoga every day. I went this morning and I've gotten a lot of my friends at work to join. There's a studio right across from my office. And I just feel like when you get older, yoga's so great because there's so much stretching involved. And I like to run, I like to hike, I like to row. There's all these things that I like to do. And I feel like yoga is going to help me. I feel good when I exercise and I like to get into work early and I like to exercise before work. So I'm just in the habit of getting up, exercising, and then going to work. So this morning I went to yoga with Jessica and then I went for a run with Debbie, all before 8 o'clock.
this is where I get it from.
And I love it. It just makes me feel good. And I feel so lucky that I can keep doing it. So it's great.
Yeah.
It's really
I'm glad
great.
that you do the yoga sculpt as well because I feel like it's also a bit of body weight weightlifting. And I feel like that's really, I just feel like
Yes.
you just did cardio for so long. And I just don't, I think it's good
I,
to do other stuff as well.
yeah, for sure. Well, the 10 years that we had our dog Duke, I ran with him every day and that was my exercise. So I never did anything else but running. And I was starting to get aches and pains. So I've been increasing my weights and yes, you'd be very proud of me.
Yoga sculpt is no joke,
It's
it's
great.
very hard.
It really is.
Well, I feel like when I was growing up, you running the marathon was a really big deal. How did that like happen? Did you just decide to do it? What was the process?
I had a couple friends that I would run with on a regular basis. It was, kind of like a social thing. We would run and we would chat. My friend Debbie had run a marathon and she wanted to start training for one. It was about a year out and she said, I'm going to train for this marathon. Do you want to do it with me? And I said, sure. So she said, you need to do your own runs during the week, but on Sunday, we'll do longer runs and we'll take turns. We'll start with 5 miles and the next week 6 and the next week 7 and so forth. When we got up to, I think, 23. But sometimes we'd run to Wayland and meet you guys for breakfast, or we just did these long runs on Sunday, early Sunday morning. So I felt like I wasn't really missing, too much time with you guys. Doing the actual marathon was great. When you put your mind to something and you follow a plan, you really can. If I can run a marathon, anybody can run a marathon. The Boston Marathon is amazing because there's fans the entire way cheering you on. Your dad had put my name on my shirt, so everybody was saying, go Patty, go Patty. And it just gives you extra incentive to keep going. And I knew you guys were at mile 18 waiting for me. And that was really fun when I got to you guys. And it was a really good experience. And I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad I got to do Boston because it's kind of iconic when you live in Boston. But at the end of it, I thought, okay, check. I don't ever need to do that again. That's a little bit excessive for me. Um, I'm a little tired. But actually, you asked me to run New York with you, I don't know, about 10 years ago, and I was like, I mean, I'm not gonna say no to that. If I can run something with Kristi, I'll do it. But then you got in and I didn't, so that was okay. But the other nice thing about the running the marathon was I hadn't qualified, so I had to find some kind of organization that would give me a number to use, and I ended up working with the Mass Association of the Blind, and then they asked me the following year to be a guide for a blind runner, and I was like, "Oof, I don't know if I could do that." I had a hard enough time just finishing on my own, so I delicately bowed out of that one. But yeah, running the marathon was great, and training with a friend is so fun because, every Sunday we would just chat the whole time, and we really got to know each other, but even better than we had already, and it just created a really strong bond between us. So it was fun. It was really fun.
Well, Joe's talked a big talk of running the Boston Marathon with me. So,
Good.
my last question for you is, do you have any advice for other parents whose kids are maybe in high school or college and have, maybe the same like aspirations to either then row in college or row after college?
Yeah, I mean, for kids in high school, I would say if they can row in the summer, that just gives you a big advantage because it keeps you in shape. And in the fall, when you go back to your program, you're fit and ready to go, and you've gotten even better over the summer. So I think that that's super, super helpful. I think that you were really happy to do that when you were in high school. And then the same for college kids. Yeah, and there's some great camps that, ID camps that they can go to. But for after college, I think really just joining a program like Orion or Craftsberry, it's the perfect way to continue it and try to make a national team. And if that's what you want, you should do it, and they should follow their dreams.
That's good advice. Summer rowing, and it's fun.
It is fun.
Well, happy Mother's Day. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions for me before we wrap it up?
Yes. What's your favorite thing about doing this podcasting?
Getting to talk to people like you and getting to share more. I mean, obviously, more than most people, that I, in the past, have not loved talking about rowing or sharing stuff. And I'm so happy that it's been such a good way to share, the whole thing with so many people. And I feel like people are really love to hear about it every week and feel like way more involved and connected. And that just, I don't know, that makes me like really, really happy. I think it's been good for me and like my vulnerability and sharing and yeah, growth.
Well, I love listening every week.
Mom is the first listener every week, every Friday morning. She texts me, I just listened. Loved your conversation with blah, blah, blah. It was amazing. Hope you have a great day. I'm
Yes.
like, I haven't even woken up yet, but thank you.
Friday's my favorite day now.
Well, do you still get muffins at work on Fridays?
They changed it to Wednesdays now because so many people work from home on Fridays.
Mm,
So Wednesday's a
mm,
good day too.
mm. Do they still have no meeting Wednesday?
They do. It's amazing. I love No Meeting Wednesday. Yeah. Not everybody remembers. Sometimes you have to gently remind them.
I'm busy eating my muffin. I cannot have a meeting today.
That's right.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, thanks so much, Mom. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Yay! So I hope everyone enjoyed that. And thanks so much, Mom, for coming on and sharing and talking about my childhood and your childhood and everything. I think it was really fun and another opening into our lives. So I think it was a good episode. And before I leave you this week, I'm just going to share a classic Michael Jordan quote. He said, "Never say never because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion." So I hope everyone goes after what they want and believes in themselves. Have a great week. See you next time. Bye. I'd love to hear from you, so send us a topic suggestion, or if you'd like to submit a question for our Ask Kristi Anything segment, head to our website, theother3years.com.